From a tiny blinking dot on a screen to the vast worlds of PlayStation 5, the story of video games is a journey of creativity, innovation, and pure fun. Let's explore how this amazing industry began and evolved. It all started not with Mario or PlayStation, but with a tiny blip of light on a screen. In the 1950s, computers were massive machines, cold, humming giants used only by scientists and the military. But a few visionaries asked a simple question: what if these machines could play? In 1958, physicist William Higinbotham created Tennis for Two, a basic tennis simulation displayed on an oscilloscope. It was meant just for fun at a science fair, yet it unknowingly became one of the world's first video games. A few years later, in 1962, Steve Russell and his team at MIT developed Space War, two spaceships battling in space. It wasn't sold, but it spread like wildfire through universities and research labs. For the first time, people were playing with computers, not just using them. And then came 1972. Engineer Nolan Bushnell founded Atari and released Pong. Two paddles, one square ball. That's all it took to start a global revolution. Arcades filled with glowing screens, the sound of coins, and the cheers of players. Video games had officially arrived. As the 1970s progressed, arcades became the heart of youth culture. Rows of glowing machines filled with blinking lights and simple yet addictive games drew kids, teens, and even adults. Coins clinked in the machines as players battled aliens, ghosts, and barrels. In 1977, Atari 2600 changed everything by bringing gaming into the living room. For the first time, players could switch cartridges and experience entirely new games on the same console. This was revolutionary. Suddenly, video games weren't just a public pastime, they were a personal entertainment experience. Titles like Space Invaders, Pac-Man, and Donkey Kong became global phenomena. Pac-Man sparked a frenzy. Merchandise, cartoons, lunchboxes, even music inspired by the Yellow Hero. Donkey Kong introduced the world to Mario, a character who would become the face of gaming for decades. Yet the rapid boom had its downside. With hundreds of companies rushing to create games, the market became flooded with low-quality titles. By 1983, the video game crash hit. Stores were full of unsold cartridges, companies went bankrupt, and consumer confidence plummeted. Some predicted the death of the video game industry altogether. But amid this chaos, a company from Japan, Nintendo, was preparing to change everything. Their approach would not only revive the industry, but redefine gaming for generations to come. Gaming had already captured hearts worldwide, and the stage was set for a revolution. By the mid-1980s, the video game industry had almost completely collapsed in North America due to the 1983 crash. Enter Nintendo from Japan. With the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, in 1985, Nintendo didn't just release a console. It revived an entire industry. Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, and Metroid weren't just games. They were new worlds of imagination. Mario, Luigi, Link, and Samus became icons, inspiring toys, cartoons, and an entire culture. Soon, Sega entered the fray with the Genesis, Mega Drive, and Sonic the Hedgehog. The console wars began. Nintendo's family-friendly image versus Sega's edgy, fast-paced style. Marketing was fierce, fans were divided, and the competition pushed innovation to new heights. Handheld gaming also took off. Nintendo's Game Boy, launched in 1989, let players carry their adventures anywhere. With Tetris included, it became a global sensation, proving that gaming wasn't limited to home consoles anymore. By the 1980s, video games weren't just entertainment. They were becoming a cultural phenomenon. Arcades weren't only places to play, they were social hubs where teenagers met, competed, and shared strategies. Games influenced music. Pac-Man Fever became a Billboard hit in 1982, while soundtracks of games like The Legend of Zelda inspired countless composers. Television and movies also embraced gaming. Cartoons like Super Mario Bros. And shows like Captain N. The Game Master brought game characters to life. Fashion followed too. T-shirts, backpacks, and even lunchboxes featuring game characters became hugely popular. Kids proudly displayed their love for Mario, Donkey Kong, and Pac-Man everywhere. Video games also created new subcultures. Competitive gaming emerged with tournaments and high-score competitions. Magazines, fanzines, and guidebooks provided tips, secrets, and strategies. Players formed communities, sharing cheat codes and discussing upcoming releases. Gaming even influenced literature. Books like Ready Player One, later adapted into a film, reflected the growing fascination with virtual worlds. From arcades to pop culture, video games were no longer just a hobby. They shaped the lifestyle and identity of a generation. The 1990s marked a massive leap in gaming technology. The move from 2D to 3D graphics completely changed how games were designed, played, and experienced. Players could now explore fully realized worlds, walk through cities, climb mountains, and even fly through space. Sony PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and Sega Saturn led this 3D revolution. Games like Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, Tomb Raider, and The Legend of Zelda. Ocarina of Time weren't just games anymore. They were cinematic experiences. Developers started integrating voice acting, cutscenes, and fully orchestrated soundtracks, making players feel like they were inside a movie. Multiplayer gaming began to evolve. LAN parties, competitive tournaments, and early online games like Quake and Diablo 2 created communities that crossed cities and countries. For the first time, gaming became social, connecting players across the globe. Handhelds also reached a new level. Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and Neo Geo Pocket offered portable 3D-like experiences and more sophisticated gameplay. By the late 1990s, gaming had transformed into a mainstream culture. Arcades were still present, but consoles and PCs became the primary platforms. Game design evolved from simple mechanics to deep storytelling, immersive worlds, and complex character development. It was here, in the 1990s, that video games truly matured as an art form and a cultural phenomenon. The foundation for modern gaming, open worlds, immersive graphics, online communities, and storytelling had been firmly laid. The 21st century brought high-definition graphics, open-world adventures, and online multiplayer on an unprecedented scale. Consoles like the PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One and Series X, and Nintendo Switch pushed hardware to the limit. Games like The Witcher 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Breath of the Wild showcased massive open worlds and player freedom. Virtual reality entered the scene with devices like Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and PlayStation VR, creating immersive experiences like never before. AI and procedural generation now allow developers to craft dynamic, unpredictable worlds. From pixels to photorealism, from arcades to online universes. Gaming is no longer just entertainment. It's an art form, a community, and a lifestyle. The story that began with a blinking dot on a screen continues to evolve, and the next level is always waiting. Thanks for watching. From Pong to PlayStation, gaming has come a long way. But this is just level 1. If you enjoyed this journey through gaming history, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share your favorite childhood game in the comments below.